um, 2 weeks ago when we took communion. I don't know, for those of you that were here on Convergence that day, we took communion at the very end. Our sister said, take communion when you get off, um, or when at the very end. And Carrie, it's interesting what you shared this morning. I've been somewhat in that place as well. And so I had all my elements, and I had my elements there, and I was like, okay, Father, um, I'm going to take communion. So as I sat there with Father, with the elements, and I was going to kind of do the same thing I've always done, it felt so different. All of a sudden, I was swept into this place with Father, and Father started talking to me um, communion, and actually him in that day. And all of a sudden, I saw he was talking to me about when the blood, because I had, of course, my communion, and I said something about the blood, and he said, when the blood was shed, he said, actually, the waters, and all of a sudden I saw the waters of Jesus come out of himself and into creation, and all of creation, from the world to humanity. So it wasn't the blood that was shed, it was the waters of himself. And all of a sudden I was swept up and carried into those waters. So in that place of communion, it just was this different place that I was at that day in communion. And I was like, Father, this is where I want to be in communion. This is communion. This is fully in me. This is me in communion with him in that place. And so it felt so different. It shifted something inside of me. Um, and so in that place that I was, I heard Father say, it is finished. And for those of you that know me, it's interesting because, and I'm not saying, I honor every single one of you in your places of study, getting all the writing down and all the background and all the, the things. Those that know me, I kind of, where I'm at with Father, I move in a place of him and I communications, and I don't do a lot of when he says something, I've got to get the, let me research and make sure I get all the make sure that's correct, make sure it's biblically correct, make sure where it's found. I don't do a lot of that. And I honor every single one of you that love to dig deep into the depths. Um, I'm not that person. I kind of flow with Father in more of a, okay, Father, you talk to me about that. What is that? What is that? So when he said, it is finished, I said, okay. What about that do you want me to know? What is it is finished? And it felt less like an ending and more of like a beginning. And I was like, okay, Father, if it is finished, if we look at it as finished, and what we know that we've learned in that phrase, it is in church, like when I've learned that all my life, it is finished, it is done, I've paid the price, it is done. um but I was like, it feels more than that. It feels like more than that. So what are you saying? What do you want to say? And so I didn't feel anything at the time. So I was like, okay, so now, Tamara, it's time to kind of look at some things and see what Father's saying about it. So I looked, and again, I invite you guys. I 100% don't know all the things, or this is just a walk with me. So I invite you guys to share what Father shows you in this, because I 100% would love to partner with you guys in this, and tell me, oh, Tamara, this is this, and I come on, come on. I invite all that. So, but what I found, I'm going to share a little bit with you and then add. I would love it. So when I looked up, it is finished. Um, in the Greek, I can't pronounce it. It's it's a T word. And it says it has been completed or paid in full, debt paid in full. Love it. That's what we've known and that's what we've been taught. Love that. But then I was like, okay, but I don't feel like that's all it is. I don't feel it. I'm not feeling it. So I was like, okay, is there a Hebrew to that? I found in the Aramaic, it is finished. The phrase is mashalem, y'all. And that just shook me because it is a mashalem is a open mem, the waters. It is a shen, it is a lamed, and it is a closed mem. So in the phrase it is finished, on either side is the waters, the open mem, the closed mem. And I was like, Father, I was just like, I was beside myself. My heart was just, the waters, I could just feel them surrounding and pouring out of me, right? And so when I started looking into that, the mem, of course, is waters, life force. The shen, tooth or fire, the consuming. And of course, there's more, I know, y'all. And this is just a little bit. And Father, I'm asking him to reveal more of this. So this is just the beginning of what he showed me about it. And the Lamed, the King of Kings. And what I love about the Lamed in this, even it is the center and it is the heart. So here we go again with the waters and the heart in the middle. And I was just like, this is what we're saying. This is what you're saying. And so anyway, so I was like, and then the closed mem. So I have always seen it is finished as the end, the completion, it was paid in full, the price is paid, it is done. But then when I started again talking to Father about it, I was like, okay, that's all good, and I love it, the mem, the waters. So what is the beginnings? Like, what I felt like it was an invitation to a beginning. And as I started reading about, like doing some reading about it, it was interesting. It was interesting. All of a sudden, Father started talking to me about after the crucifixion, after that day, Jesus began to appear, translocate, walk in the spirit, appear in the spirit for 40 days, the mem, the waters. For 40 days, he began to walk in the waters of, and I was just like, so to me, I just felt like this invitation of it is finished. And it almost showed me, or what my heart started, feeling about it was the end of it is finished in his body on the earth, in the walk, in the things with his body, and the beginning of in the waters, in the moving in the spirit, in the moving in and appearing and walking in the spirit, in that place of him. And I was like, Father, is that an invitation